Thank you, Remy, for giving me the floor. Our next speaker will be Mr. Tsvetkov, who's an assistant at the Institute of Astronomy to the Bulgarian Academy of Science, and also he works with the National Astronomy Observatory. And his presentation will be about good practices of astrotourism in Europe and worldwide. So we already saw Sonal's presentation, which was so interesting and inspiring. And now we will see some more examples, which Mr. Tsvetkov will show us. Thank you. Mr. Tsvetkov, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I just want to be sure that you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Do you see it? Okay, thank you. So first, let me introduce myself. My name is Tsvetkov. I work in the Institute of Astronomy in Bulgarian Academy of Sciences. And my perspective on the astrotourism might be a little different than the one presented by the colleague before, because as an astrophysicist, I work in the field and I have a look on the astrotourism from both sides. I have been practicing astrotourism, going abroad, visiting observatories, going for stargazing, etc. And at the same time, in the last more than 10 years, I work as the guy who is personally involved in the welcoming the visitors of our National Observatory in Bulgaria. So the two kinds of astrotourism I would like to talk about in my lecture are on one hand, the observatory tours that can include daytime tours when the visitors just came to check the observatories, the instruments that we use, what we do with them, and learn about our stuff and our job. And the other kind of observatory tour that you can make almost everywhere in the world, visiting some scientific observatory, is connected to the night sky observations that can be obtained by professional astronomers that show the night sky objects and tell everyone stories about what you can see in the night sky. But this is also part of the astrotourism that can be made and conducted by amateur astronomers and people with not so many involved in astronomy at all. The other kind of astrotourism that I want to share with you about is linked with the solar eclipse chasing. This is part of the astrotourism that is strongly being developing in the last few years, in my opinion. And I personally have been part of 4 different national scientific research expeditions about observing 4 different total solar eclipses. And yeah, it was, for me, it was a personal experience. I was there to do my job, to conduct some experiments, but also many of the people I met there were just regular locals and people traveling the world to see this event. So those are the other impressions that I have about this type of astrotourism. And first, let me start with briefly introducing you our observatory. It's the biggest center for astronomy in the whole Southeastern Europe. It includes 4 different professional telescopes that are used for scientific purposes only. And from maybe 1 month, in 1 month, we will be able to introduce also one more brand new 1.5 meter telescope from our observatory. But at this moment, our biggest telescope has main mirror with 2 meters of diameter, and it's the biggest attraction for our daytime tours that people can see. You can see it, it is located in the building that you see on the picture below. And with both daytime and nighttime tours, in a year, we have usually more than 20,000 visitors. It's a statistic that is true for the pre-COVID period, because we don't know how it really affected our observatory. It was closed for visitors for the past like 2 years or something. And during these daytime visits, when the telescope is not in operation, of course, we let people enter the hall under the dome of the telescope to show them probably the biggest telescope they will ever see. Our primary goal of this visit is to introduce to people our work, give them a short explanation of what we do, why we do it, and what we are trying to achieve with our instruments. But probably it's most important to notice that we only show the telescope to the people without making any observations, of course, because during the day we cannot proceed with night sky observations. And maybe it's funny for some of you that I share this, but you don't have an idea how many people are disappointed visiting the observatory during the day and when they discover that we are not going to observe with the telescope this time. And during the summer, because our observatory is located up in the mountains at almost 2,000 meters above the sea level, the weather there is typical for the mountains at that altitude, and it's not that pleasant for visitors, even for astrotourists, to join us on observations during the winter when we have something like 2 meters of snow everywhere around the telescopes. So usually during the summer starry nights, when the observations can be made outside because we have one smaller telescope, when all other professional telescopes are in operation, we use this 30 centimeters telescope to show people the secrets of the starry nights. We discuss with them all the constellations in the night sky. We observe different kind of stars, galaxies, nebulas, star clusters, and everything you can imagine that you can see in the night sky. And not only because of the perfect non-light polluted sky, the observatory was made there, and this makes it in the region at all perfect for astrotourism, but also only 30 kilometers away. It is in the closest city to the observatory is located the biggest planetarium that we have in our country, where you can enjoy sessions about different topics of astronomy, and also they have popular observations of the sun during the day. And the next thing that makes our observatory so interested about the visitors is the fact that it's listed in top 5 attractions in TripAdvisor, and it's also listed in the probably all must-visit places in almost every website of a hotel in the region. So the astrotourism in the region of our observatory is really well developed, and it's growing, or at least it was growing before the pandemic, every year attracting more and more people coming there just to learn something new and to observe something new. And the other kind of astrotourism I wanted to talk about was the one that is dedicated to total solar eclipses. We all know that we can observe a total solar eclipse when the moon passes between the sun and the earth, and it's casting a shadow, and from the territories where this shadow passes through Earth, we can observe the full eclipse of the sun. We can enjoy the solar corona. But the fact that moon's shadow is really tiny, always less than 273 kilometers, is the reason that places where a total solar eclipse could be observed are often far away or hard to reach. And this is a map of the totality paths of the total solar eclipses that we will be able to observe in the next 10 years. And you can see that they're actually located quite far from each other. They're, as we all know, the Earth is mainly surfaced by water. So most of the territories that you can observe the total solar eclipses are usually located somewhere in the oceans. And that's why it's a really specific kind of tourism, because it's not something that you can develop just sitting in one place and waiting for the eclipse to happen. It's always connected with moving around the world, literally. And a nice example for the total solar eclipse chasing was the last eclipse that we observed like 1 month ago. We were obtaining an expedition to Australia because you see the red line here on the screen. This is the totality path of the eclipse. It marks the territories from which you could observe it, and it passes through only 3 minor countries. I mean, excluding Australia, because obviously it's not that small country, but the other 2, Western Papua and Eastern Timor, were really hard to reach, dangerous, and places like airports and connections from the airports to the places where you could observe eclipse were practically unachievable. So you see this tiny spot of Western Australia, that was the only place where practically people from all around the world that were interested in viewing this event had to reach. Just to imagine the scales, you can imagine that this small land where the shadow of the moon passes through Australia was smaller in size than London City. And it's not only that, but also the fact that the inner side of this peninsula was a national park, and it was impossible to enter. All the roads around there were closed, so only the part of the peninsula that is around the ocean was okay to go and produce our observations. Of course, we were there to conduct some experiments and do some scientific tasks, but all the people were situated, including scientists and regular people that came there to observe, were situated in this small town called Exmouth. You can see it on the map, I guess. And just to imagine how many people this place was attracting because of the total solar eclipse, it is a town with a regular population of less than 3,000 people. And during the days around the eclipse, they said that they had more than 30,000 visitors, especially for this event. And the fact that we were all together, professional and amateur astronomers, astrotourists, and all kind of people, made us possible to exchange experiences, discuss why you're here and what are you trying to achieve. And one more important thing is to notice that from this place that is situated literally for us on the other side of the globe, we had to travel more than 40 hours to reach that spot. It was all about 60 seconds, less than 60 seconds of total solar eclipse. The totality duration was less than 60 seconds, but that didn't stop people from all around the world to go there, everyone with a different purpose. And the fact that solar eclipses actually attract people going there is one more time approved by the fact that usually those places are organizing special events for people that go there and just like to enjoy the view and the eclipse, not to do their job. And this is an example from one special solar fest that was it's from another eclipse. It was in the USA 2017 that was made, but all different kinds of people with really different reasons to go and enjoy the eclipse you can meet there. And for us as scientists, it's always risky to be part of this kind of astrotourism, because we always look for some distant place where we are not surrounded by crowds, because we don't have we have like 60 seconds to do our job. We traveled to the other side of the globe, and we wish to avoid any kind of situations that might ruin our work. But the fact that we should choose places just because to avoid the crowds is, I mean, a good example about how many people are attracted by solar eclipses, and a good example for another kind of how people from the region where a total solar eclipse happens. I can give you from the eclipse in the United States that we observed like 6 years ago. And this is some ranch that was located on the totality path of the eclipse, and it was not only welcoming people and giving them a place to stay, like where you can camp and stay for a few days around the eclipse, but also was preparing them because it's far away from towns, cities, and stuff. And it was the ranch and all family that is working there were dedicated to the people that came for the eclipse, producing some foods, selling drinks, and taking care for the comfort of the people there. And finally, all that we do it just for the seconds that we can enjoy the view. And it's not only us, the professionals, that can give our best to try and catch good images during the total solar eclipses, because using also pictures that are produced by astrotourists and ordinary people that are practicing astrophotography, we can produce pictures like this. This is a composition image of many different images taken with various type of cameras, lenses, and stuff that we use to reveal the solar corona, the main purpose because of which we travel and chase the eclipse and are interested in total solar eclipses, because we can see here not only the inner part of the corona, but also its structures all around the sun in all directions and in big distances from solar limb. And finally, this is another picture taken from our not actually colleague, it's our friend that is typical example for astrotourist that was part of our expedition. He came with us in another eclipse that was in 2019 from Chile. We observed the solar eclipse, and this picture taken there is another example of what people do during solar eclipses. And my personal advice to you, I'm not sure if you will remember anything from this lecture, but you should definitely remember that in something like 6,000 million years, the moon will be too far away to cover the sun, so we must enjoy total solar eclipses while they last. Thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions now, or I can give you my email in the chat, you can always write me and discuss any ideas that you have. Thank you.